Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is basically going to be just me talking through my alopecia story. So if you follow me on Instagram and you've read some of my captions, you may already kind of know a little bit of the backstory to my alopecia, but I thought a sit down video just kind of talking through how I've dealt with it at each stage might be helpful to somebody else out there who may be in a similar position. So if you're not aware of what alopecia actually is, it's an autoimmune disease, which basically means that your body's immune system attacks your hair follicles, causing the follicle to just die, and then the hair will fall out as a result of that. So alopecia kind of starts in the areata stage, which is where you just get patchy hair loss, and it can, but sometimes doesn't, develop into total hair loss all over your body. So my alopecia actually started when I was 13 years old. I am 23 now, so I've had alopecia for 10 years. And to begin with, I had a mild form of alopecia areata. So for quite a long time, my hair was just falling out in patches, growing back, and then falling out in another patch on a different spot of my head. So my mum was the first person to notice a patch that was missing from the back of my head. Obviously I couldn't see it, it was right at the back, and I had very thick hair. So my mum wanted to take me to a doctor straight away just to make sure that everything was okay, and the doctor obviously said that it was alopecia, but in my head I didn't even know what alopecia was, so I wasn't really worried about it until it started progressing. From the age of 13 until 16, my hair loss was just very patchy. I'd cover it with hair extensions, I'd have tape-in hair extensions and also clip-in extensions, and I used those just to cover my hair every single day. I'd wake up in the morning, my mum would help me to stick extensions on the back of my head, and I did not tell anyone about this all through school, and for 7 years of having alopecia I did not tell anyone, not even friends that I was close to in school. I literally did not want anyone to know. I think that kind of just came down to being embarrassed. I couldn't even say the word alopecia. I was, I guess, in denial about what was happening, and watching yourself go from having extremely thick hair to it slowly, painfully slowly falling out is extremely hard. And I'm not saying that it falling out all in one day or in a short period of time is any less hard, but I think because it took such a long time for me to go completely bald, I held on to hope that my hair would grow back for a really long time. As my hair loss was progressively getting worse, my mum obviously was worried about me. My mental state was not very good at this point. My confidence was very low. She took me to the doctors again and we got referred to a dermatologist, and they did put me on steroids for a while. That didn't really do much. It slowed down the hair loss, but by this point I believe I'd lost about 70% of the hair on my head. So for me to have grown my hair back at that point, it was a lot of hair that I was missing. So when I was 16, that's when I first had to buy a wig. At this point my hair loss had gotten to the point where I couldn't really hide it with hair extensions anymore, and my mum was the one who suggested going to an actual salon and trying on a wig. And I remember that day was just really hard. I think when they put the wig on me and I tried it on, and obviously I moved all of the hair to the front, I actually noticed how thin my hair had got. So obviously it had been such a slow process of it falling out over 3 years that by the time I tried on the wig and noticed how thick it was, I don't think I had any idea how thin my actual hair was looking at this point. I don't really have many photos, but if I can find any on Facebook, I'll try and put some up. But I basically went from blonde hair, which was what my well, I say natural hair, that wasn't my natural colour, but I dyed it blonde. I felt like blonde was a lot less harsh for showing the patches. The dark hair against obviously my light scalp, it was quite obvious. So I went from the blonde, very, very thin hair to a wig. It was the Trendco Diamond in a chocolate brown colour, and I absolutely loved it. It was like having my hair back. So what me and my mum did was, the small amounts of hair that I had left, we dyed brown. So I still had some hair left in the front, which I then wore the wig and pulled those over the top so that I could kind of wear my hair like back off my face, and the natural hair that I had left kind of blended the wig in quite nice. So after starting the steroids and then realising that they weren't really doing what I wanted, which was a miracle and for all my hair to grow back, I went off the steroids, and afterwards then it was a bit of a quicker process, but my eyelashes and eyebrows started falling out. And I think for me, my eyelashes falling out was the hardest part about the whole thing. I have always said, when people have asked me, if somebody told me tomorrow your hair on your head will never grow back but we'll give you eyelashes, I would take that over having my hair back. And that's just because I always felt that without eyelashes my face looked very, very flat. And I'm sure people with alopecia universalis will understand that. The hair on your face, although it's such a small amount of hair, it makes such a difference. In school I had very, very, very long eyelashes. I think when I was younger, teachers and older people would always say, oh my gosh, you have incredibly long eyelashes, and to lose those was just heartbreaking. I think I look back at it now and I've blanked out a lot of the memories from when my hair was falling out, and I have looked into it, and apparently you can suffer with trauma related memory loss. And obviously at the time it was so traumatic for me, I do think that I've just blocked out all of the memory of it. So like I said, I kept my alopecia a secret from everyone. The only people that knew were my parents and my brother. And although I think people obviously knew and people obviously spoke about it, because I didn't speak about it, it was very behind my back, I guess. So going through school, I tried to hide in the background. I didn't want any attention brought to the fact that I was wearing a wig. I didn't want any attention brought to my eyebrows or my eyelashes. I literally just wanted to blend in. That's all I wanted in school. And I think that kind of in a way spiraled. So even when I left school, I still didn't really want to talk about it. I wasn't confident enough. But after having alopecia for 7 years, it got to a point where I felt confident enough to talk about it. And that brings it to 2017, when I'd had alopecia for 7 years, and I made an Instagram post, completely bald. So I kind of jumped in at the deep end and basically just showed everyone on my Instagram that I had no hair. And that post went crazy. I think it has like 46,000 likes on it at the moment. I'll try and put a screenshot up for you. And I just remember the amount of support that I got was absolutely insane. Like, I never expected to meet so many people with the same condition that I have. I grew up thinking that I was the only teenage girl in the world who had gone through this, and I think I always associated going bald with being old or being a guy. I never thought that girls could lose their hair, and I think finding that community of people was such a huge help to me. and over those 3 years my confidence with not wearing a wig has increased a lot. It's still not where I'd like it to be. I'd absolutely love to be able to leave the house without hair, but I feel like that's a future project. So I just want to put a disclaimer as well that just because my alopecia turned into alopecia universalis, it doesn't mean by any stretch that everybody who has alopecia areata will get alopecia universalis. I think alopecia universalis is actually the rarest form, and obviously that's where it affects everywhere on your body, which is exactly what I've got. Hair loss is one of those subjects where people get extremely embarrassed, and I was obviously for a very long time embarrassed about losing my hair. I was painfully insecure in school. Anybody who spoke about hair, anything, like anytime the topic would turn to hair products or people just talking about styling their hair, I would go mute. I wouldn't want to talk about it because I was just so scared that somebody might bring it up, and I was by no means ready to talk about it. I had fully planned the rest of my life not telling anyone that I had alopecia, but I think it took like a push from myself to be able to post that photo in 2017, and I can hands down say it was the best thing that I ever did. Being open about something is extremely hard, but it also opens so many more doors to allowing you to have support, which is extremely important when going through anything like this. Any type of insecurity is better when you talk about it. Obviously now I can sit here and talk openly about my alopecia, which is something that I never thought that I would be able to do, and I am proud of myself to be able to talk about it because I know that it can help other people. But yeah, I think that's everything, guys. So if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'll pop it on the screen. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Bye!